So I don't know about anybody else, but I find that when you're going to get a ticket or you've pulled over by a cop, they seem to take forever to, come to the car to begin with after they pulled you over. And then when they take your license and your insurance and they take it back to their car, they just seem to take forever. So I'm thinking of something, why that might be. I went to a police station to get something done, some paperwork basically. And I was surprised to see that one of the policemen that I was talking to, who I had to deal with, he was writing stuff by hand. And I was like, what are you doing? Don't you guys have all of this stuff on computers? And he's like, well, that stuff that's supposed to make everything faster, it really seems like it just ends up slowing everything down. And I thought to myself, slowing everything down, I mean, you just have to type and you'll be fine. Because I'm thinking of myself, I never took a typing class or anything. I just poke, and then it hit me. This guy probably didn't know how to type. And most of these policemen probably have access to all these computers, and they are never really given a class or an opportunity where they're like, okay, we're setting aside a time here for you to learn how to type. And most of them probably don't know how to type. And even though they have all of these computers and all of this access, so many of them probably don't know how to use the systems that they are supposed to use very well. I mean, we hear stuff about, cops pulling up records that they're not supposed to on people that come in to make police complaints and so on. And then they get in trouble because they want to have a relationship with somebody. They might get somebody's phone number, and there's auditing that tracks them. But these are probably, of course, rare cases, especially if they have good auditing software. But there's probably a lot of cops that don't know how to type very well. And that could be one of the reasons why cops, I mean, I haven't been pulled over very recently, but that could be one of the reasons why cops take so long to, in the past anyway, to give you a ticket, because they don't know how to type, they don't know how to use the systems that they have in front of them very well. Even if they've been using those systems, what happens more than likely is the systems probably get upgraded and they don't have general computer knowledge because they're cops, not like computer people or office workers. And then that's the reason why they end up taking so long. And I was thinking, maybe this is something that just happens across the board, which is that people come up with really good ideas. Yes, all of these things should be digitized. All of this information should be in databases, whatever. And it should be really easy. And I think most of us expect that all of the information that the government has is in computer systems and is easy to retrieve and all this stuff. But probably, especially when you change systems, the people at the top, they probably get a demonstration of a particular software or machinery or something, and they think, oh yeah, this is really cool. But if it's anything that I've come to realize, is that people don't understand how long it takes to learn new things. That's one of the things that I have learned to appreciate from learning many new things, is that especially for them to become part of you, so you don't have to fight to think of what you have to do next, that can take a long time. It takes weeks to learn something. You don't just show somebody something and then they remember. The next time that you show somebody something and you think that it's in their head and they got it and they grasped it, but especially if it's more than 3 steps and they're different versions of you do this one time and you do that another time, and if this you do that, and things can get complicated, and it's hard to learn something. It's repetition. It takes many times to learn to do anything, even typing. I've been poking on my keyboard for however many years, and of late I decided, okay, now I need to learn how to type. And I'm taking like 5-10 minutes every day, timing it to make sure that I can type. And I think it's been like 2 months. I think, the typing website that I went to practice, they're saying like in 5 hours you can increase your speed. But I don't know about that. I think that they're coming up with, the best 10-year-olds on the service, and they're using those as some kind of these shining examples. But I think that it takes a lot longer, especially for adults, to learn this stuff. And just in general, I think that, just like the cop said, there are a lot of things that are supposed to be faster, and ultimately they will be faster, but you need to have the necessary time for people to learn. And in the time that they need to learn, you probably need to bring in somebody else who can type properly. Otherwise, they'll just go back to using, pencil and paper, and you will never get that return on investment that you envisioned, because you never took into account how long it really does take people to adapt to a new situation, especially learning to type. Learning to type is a significant skill. It's not something that you do overnight. And the amount of frustration that people can have when they aren't given enough leeway in order to, and enough tutoring to know what they need to do in order to change. The first day that a policeman or anybody anywhere has to poke on a keyboard, the first time that they encounter it, I can remember when I had to do something on a keyboard, and I was like, of course, I was thinking, oh my God, this sucks so much. I remember I lost my files. I didn't know how to use to save stuff. There was people, we were using diskettes and stuff like that, and it was so frustrating to lose all my information. And it's the same thing with the cops. People are going to be very resistant to change, and it's not just because they, want to resist for the sake of resisting. It's because it's so frustrating. And, I remember, now that I come to think of it, I built computer programs for people, and I guess as an IT member, we didn't provide enough IT personnel. My boss, and I guess it was up to him to provide the training for these people to learn how to use their computers. And I did try. I recall trying to have sessions to show people, but I guess they were too boring. They were like recorded, like monotone sessions of this is how you save, this is how you do this, and people just skipped my classes. So, but anyway, it's sad, it's unfortunate, and I think that's why cops take so long to give people a ticket, especially if it's not something that they can write out by hand.